Good afternoon. I'm Julie Broughton. The time now is 12:30. This is Take 6, and we are staying on top of some breaking news for you on this Wednesday afternoon. This breaking news coming out of Georgia with reports of an active shooter at a high school. You're looking at some images now. This is happening in Barrow County, which is about an hour north of Atlanta at Appalachia High School. We have seen reports that one suspect is in custody. We're seeing reports as well of multiple casualties. Of course, this is a breaking news situation, still a very fluid situation. So all of that information coming in. As we take a look at a shot from above there, you can see just dozens of law enforcement and emergency vehicles there. I know some students have been gathered on the football field. Certainly just a tragic situation, a terrifying day there. Again, this is happening at Appalachia High School in Barrow, Georgia, about an hour north of Atlanta. We will continue to follow updates for you and have them on air and online for you throughout the day. And of course, the very latest on News 6 at 4. Again, we are hearing reports that an active shooter, a suspect, is in custody there outside of Atlanta at that high school in Georgia. Now back here at Central Florida, we are continuing to keep an eye on the weather out there today. You know, we're in the time of year where it's pretty toasty out there, where it feels like it's in the low 100s. So imagine if you had to deal with this without air conditioning because of something that isn't your fault. News 6 investigator Erik Sandoval joins us now. And Erik, I was just telling you, when I read your story earlier, my mouth absolutely dropped. You're talking to a family, and right now they're dealing with no air conditioning because of a $12,000 utility bill from 1 month.
Yeah. So picture it, March, April, May, June, July. They're getting their normal electric bills of, 120, 110, $90, in the spring when you're just starting to turn on the air conditioner. They get their September bill, and their September bill went up to more than $12,000, $12,249, if I got that correct. Talk about sticker shock. And here is how it all played out. Take a look at our story we put together for this morning. Michelle White's Ring doorbell camera was powered up and recording last Wednesday when this Florida Power and Light worker dropped by.
FPL sent me to inspect a new meter real quick.
White says the worker shut off her power and left, leaving this note saying illegal tampering with FPL's equipment has occurred at your location, and the tampering has caused the meter to improperly underregister the electricity that your home has been using.
There's a jump in here where somebody in this house has been stealing electricity.
But White says she doesn't know who tampered with the meter on her 1,000 square foot house in Melbourne.
We paid May, June, July. Here's August. I get a bill and it says your bill is ready to be viewed in the amount of $12,245.92.
They say they're not able to come up with the $12,000, especially when they say they didn't do anything. We contacted Florida Power and Light, and they say they couldn't comment on customer accounts, but they did tell us customers are responsible for ensuring their meters are not tampered with. If tampering is detected, we may backbill a customer. Now, Knight and White say that they have not been charged criminally with anything because they say FPL can't prove they did anything. They say they're simply stuck footing the bill, and they say FPL isn't budging. Erik Sandoval, getting results, News 6. So, Julie, I think that is the story that just sort of made your jaw drop this morning. And coming up tonight at 6, we're going to have an actually longer version of that where we go a little bit more in depth with what FPL is alleging happened there and what the family is saying. I think the big takeaway from all of this is the family they have two children. One of them is very severely asthmatic. He's on a nebulizer. He needs that nebulizer, plugged in. If you don't know what a nebulizer is, it's a little face mask where you breathe in albuterol or some other, asthmatic medicine. They need that. And asthma is only compounded by high heat and high humidity. So if you don't have the air conditioning, your asthma is going to flare up. And if you don't have the electricity, you can't get the nebulizer that the child so desperately needs. So we're putting that to FPL. Tune in tonight at 6 and see what they had to say about that.
Oh my gosh, Eric, they're just I have so many feelings. And you mentioned the
Yeah.
nebulizer. My daughter has asthma. When she was very young, we did a
Yeah,
lot of time on
my
the
kids did too.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I can imagine the fear and the terror as a parent when because you know how it is. You said your kids had it when they were little. When
Yeah.
they start to need it, they really need it, and it's
Absolutely.
just, oh my gosh, I'm just floored. And the part about, oh, you're all responsible for making sure your meters aren't tampered with. That has never crossed my mind to look at my
So,
meter, do anything to
yeah.
my meter. It's
Well, and how do you know if your meter's been
yeah,
tampered with if you don't know electricity? And I'm going to add, if you put a device like this on your electric meter, it is a high risk job.
mhm,
This is high voltage electricity you're dealing with, and you need to know what you're doing if you're going to finagle something like this. And that's
yeah,
why the family basically said, "On us, we don't even know
right.
how to do anything electric like this." So coming up at 6, I'm actually going to show you a very safe way to see if your electric meter has been tampered with. Things
Okay.
that I didn't know.
I was just going to ask, is this something you knew that you do
Nope.
regularly at your house? Because I
Nope.
just like this is one more thing we need to do, but I don't know what I would do if I opened up a $12,000 electric bill. Who just has $12,000 laying around to pay a bill
Yeah, and I think
when
the most frustrating thing about this, Julie, is the electric company has basically dug their heels in the ground. They're not moving on this. They don't want to set up a payment plan. They don't want to set up any kind of a plan that's going to help this family pay that and get the electricity turned back on. They want their money.
Mhm.
End of story. And I think as a consumer and especially as an empathetic person who is talking to this family, you don't want to see this family baking out in the heat in
Right.
Central Florida,
Oh,
especially in a cinder block house. It's just really sad.
yeah, it is. All right, Eric, and what time does the rest of your story air tonight, or the second
6 o'clock
part?
tonight, and actually
Okay.
the full web story is on Click Orlando right now if
Okay.
you want to check that out. But do tune in at 6 tonight because the story turned out really well. It's a
All right.
it's a really in-depth look at what's happening there,
Yes, and we can all learn how to check our own meters
and you'll get that
safely. All right, Eric.
exactly safely.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
All right, coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to take a quick break. But when we get back, we're going to introduce you to a new member
Proceed, sir.
of our News 6 team who we're very excited about. And I think you will be too. So stick around. We'll do that. We'll take a check of the weather and we'll do all of that in about 2 minutes. It is 12:40. Welcome back to Take 6. I'm Julie Broughton. Right before we took our quick break, I gave you a little tease, a little hint that we will be introducing you to a new member of our News 6 team. And we are so exciting that we are adding a new digital meteorologist to our team. So he is joining us now. Welcome, David Nazario. We are so happy to have you here. I feel like I should present you like Simba. You are on the active side of the newsroom. I hear laughter. People are having a party behind you. So you're on the fun side of the newsroom right now.
Oh, absolutely, Julie, and thank you very much for having me today, guys. As already so eloquently put, I am the latest digital meteorologist here at WKMG Click Orlando, and I'm very excited to be here. This is a wonderful opportunity, and I can't thank you all enough for welcoming me to the team.
We have been eagerly awaiting your arrival. We've known you were coming for a little while, and every day we were like, we can't wait till David gets here and gets to, join the weather family. But you have a really cool background. You're an Air Force veteran, and you've already been doing a lot of digital meteorology on your own, and that's how you met Jonathan. So tell us how you met Jonathan first.
Oh, yeah, so to kind of piggyback the digital side of it as a hobbyist over on YouTube and the other social media weather sphere, if you will, I went to the Tropical Meteorology and Broadcast Conference sometime, I believe it was in mid-April earlier this year, as of course the pre-seasonal forecasts for the hurricane season of 2024 were rolling out. And I immediately recognized Jonathan Kagis from his Just Weather YouTube channel here from WKMG. Had to immediately go and introduce myself, a bit of a starstruck stardom moment, if you will. And we just hit it off. It's been a pleasure communicating with him as well as the rest of the meteorological team here in the studio. And you can say the rest is history. He referred the position to me, and I'm so thankful that he did. And I really appreciate everyone for giving me the chance to fill the hot seat.
Yeah, he was very excited when we found out that we were getting to add a digital meteorologist. He was like, guys, I think I know the perfect person. And it turns out that he did. But you got your start in weather in the Air Force, but you also were telling me a little bit earlier that you grew up here in Central Florida in Osceola County, and your interest started peaking, around 2004-ish. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, Julie. So it started with, and especially since we just got the new one not too long ago, but the original Twister back in the 90s as a 4 or 5-year-old up-and-coming David, that was what initially started I can kind of see myself studying meteorology, being a bit of a storm chaser or weatherman when I grow up. Then you fast forward to the infamous historic hurricane season for us Central Floridians, the native Floridians. Remember it so well, 2004, the barrage from Charlie, Francis, Ivan, and then Gene doing the loop-de-loop off our East Coast, experiencing that, especially Charlie on Friday the 13th, August 13th, 2004. That was more or less the final seal in the coffin. That was kind of what sealed the deal. I'm definitely going to be a meteorologist when I grow up.
I love that you stuck with it and you happened. And I also love your experience in the Air Force is so unique. A lot of people who come into media and TV, that's a different path, and the training that you got in the Air Force. I mean, I just can't imagine how incredible that is. Tell us about your time in the Air Force.
It was, like you said, incredible. There's no other way to put it. I truthfully attribute my time as an active duty airman in Big A, as we like to call it in the United States Air Force, to who it is that I am today. It helped give me the mentorship, the experience in the scientific realm of Air Force weather meteorology that helped to pave the way to where it is today. Because the dream goal was to inevitably end up on camera as a broadcast meteorologist, but a fresh and ripe 18-year-old right out of high school in 2012, I graduated from Celebration High School over there near the Disneyland or the Disney World area in Osceola County back in 2012. Immediately rose my right hand and then shipped out to basic training less than 30 days after my graduation.
Wow.
That's what really started to build that professional resume in the weather department, but still wanted to put my best foot forward where I could to get out there on camera or even in public to do any sort of public speaking or speaking opportunity that will continue to refine my ability to talk and communicate the weather story to those around us.
And we love that. And we know that we said you're going to be a digital meteorologist. Jonathan has recently moved to the evening shows. He, of course, is still doing a lot of his digital duties and his WeatherWise show. He's working in the evening. So you're going to come in and we're going to see you on digital in the morning, right? Is that kind of how it's going to work? Give us an idea of what you're going to be doing here.
Yeah, so it'll be a fairly traditional schedule from what I hear, sometime around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, running till about mid to late in the afternoon. This way I can tag team with the rest of you broadcasters in the meteorological department. This way we can build that continuity and that collaboration amongst the team. So this way, from the broadcast perspective of it, we are meshing perfectly with the digital platform and being able to expand upon what we couldn't necessarily take the time to do so over on television, unravel and unpack the weather story a little bit more for our viewers.
Yeah, that is one thing that is so great about digital is that you don't have those time constraints. Sometimes it's hard to tell the weather story in 2.5 or 3 minutes, but on digital, you can go deep and you can also interact with people watching, which I know Jonathan is really good at and loves. And I hopped on one of your Instagram lives recently and I saw you answering questions and I thought, wow, you seem to actually know some of these people well. You were like, oh, hey, you, yeah, I know you. So I know that you'll be excited to connect with our News 6 viewers as well. We're looking at some of your digital stuff right now. So were you doing this just about every day from home before you would go to your other job?
More or less, to tell you the truth. It was a very ruthless kind of self-built schedule of events, trying to balance the personal life with the professional life, obviously not dabbling in weather full time. I do currently serve as a naval reservist, so it's more of a part-time capacity, but still sitting in the chair for that military weather component, only activating once per month, or coming up here very soon for my annual training at the Fleet Weather Center I serve with whenever I have to suit up and put on that uniform. But yes, to answer your question, wherever I could plug it in, I was sitting there digesting model data, storyboarding how it was I wanted to put together content, schedule live streams, and then naturally the static content on Instagram and the shorters, the vertical videos over on TikTok or the shorts on YouTube, just kind of plugging and playing around pretty much the breadwinning portion of my life, the professional career that I had going on before filling this seat here at WKMG. Yeah. I more or less just tried to implement as much weather content and continuing education aside from pursuing my bachelor's degree in to the best of my ability. And I'm very thankful for the opportunities that it's allotted for me throughout the grind and the hard work of just building that social media presence.
Yeah, that is a lot of work. So what are you most excited about your new role here?
Truthfully, that's a limitless answer I could give you, but I'll give you the meat and potatoes of it. This has been something I've dreamt of since I was a little boy. No kidding. My dad, on our fossil of a camcorder, for those of you who are still familiar with VHS tapes, had me on film in front of our television set with whatever I could find as a microphone, broadcasting the weather for WKMG Channel 6 or other of our news affiliates here in the local area. So this is something I've wanted to do since I was small, and I'm so blessed to finally be here doing so. And I just can't wait to contribute to the team and see what else we can bring to the table for all of our lovely viewers out there.
So is your family still local? Will they be able to watch this dream come true, every night in their living room?
They will, yes. They are not, unfortunately, local, however. They are back at my previous duty station before leaving active duty Air Force. They are back in Tucson, Arizona, so shout out to those of you watching. I know they're all watching right now, probably ecstatic to see me here on WKMG. So they will be tuning in from afar, which once again goes back to that digital presence. It's wonderful the abilities we have to bring the message and communicate to those far and wide, not just here in the Central Florida area.
Yeah, that is nice. My parents are not local either. And, I've been in this business a long time, but they're in Southern Indiana and they still watch sometimes on the app, which I think is cute that they still care to watch after all these years. And,
absolutely. I agree.
Yes. You mentioned your family. I know you have a child, you have a cat,
yes,
you have a wife.
I do.
Tell us about your family.
So honestly, they're the best thing I could ever ask for. They've been in my corner since day one. It's been tough. It's been very tough, to tell you the truth, because naturally, since, I have the full-time position on the civilian side and then still filling that weather capacity from the military side of it, from the Navy, transitioning from active duty, even as a reserve component or reservist, there's still a lot of time that's delegated to not only the full-time position previous to this one, then suiting back up, getting in the uniform, playing that military role, then trying to find the time to plug in to the weather and continue not only my college degree, but continue producing that content. They've been phenomenal. Honestly, I'm so blessed in that capacity. Without them, I probably wouldn't be sitting here in front of you guys right now.
What's your cat's name?
Willow.
Willow. Tell us, is Willow nice or is Willow judgmental?
She's actually pretty nice, to tell you the truth. We've only had one instance where she's kind of lashed out, but that's not in her nature. It's more or less because she just couldn't stop being pestered by somebody visiting our house, and we all immediately knew, what did you do? What did you? Because I know Willow isn't going to get up all in your business, but no, she's very gentle, very kind, very far and few between. Unless I'm doing something really off the chain, does she get that little judgmental cat face going on?
Well, Willow has boundaries, and we should all have boundaries, so I can respect that. She was over your
Exactly.
guest. Yes. All right. Is there anything you're dying for our viewers to know that I did not ask you?
Not at the moment, to tell you the truth. I think we've hit all the heavy hitters, as I like to put it.
Yeah.
Definitely tune into us going forward. I'm very excited to bring that weather story to everybody who may be watching right now. It's going to be an exciting journey, and I know we're only going to continue to move the bar higher and higher. Feel free to check out any of my other social media content, weathercenter_Nazario. We will definitely continue to cross-compatible all the content that we bring you here for Central Florida, as well as across the weather sphere, as I like to put it. One of my famous mentors, Mr. Shane Castle from the 25th OWS, used to love to call it the weather sphere, and I've kind of adopted that as my own. So we're not only looking out for us Floridians, we're looking far and wide, trying to keep everybody weather aware, regardless of where you may reside.
I like that, weather sphere. And when will do we have a date yet for when we'll see you on all of our platforms?
Hopefully tomorrow.
Oh.
Mr. Jonathan and I are working hard to get everything ready to rock and roll as early as tomorrow evening.
All right. Well, that's exciting. I wasn't expecting that soon. All right. Well, fabulous. Well, thank you so much for taking time to join us on Take 6. I'm sure this will be your first of many appearances, so don't start running if you see me.
Absolutely. You know, I look forward to any and all opportunity that you guys give to me.
All right. Thank you so much. Welcome to the team. We're happy to have you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time as well.
Of course. All right, let's get a check of your forecast for today. If you were with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos at noon or earlier this morning, she was already tracking some showers on that East Coast sea breeze fired up coming inland. Here's a look at the radar for us, showing some pockets of heavy rain generally now to the west of I-4, approaching I-4, most active right now in Osceola County. Now, we do have a frontal boundary just kind of stalled out across our northern counties. Out ahead of that, we're seeing a deep southerly flow that is bringing a lot of tropical moisture in place, and that is going to help keep our rain chances elevated as we head through the next couple of days. And taking you through the afternoon hours, again, those showers drift to the west. Later this evening, we may see some of them trying to drift back to the east coast, but generally throughout the afternoon hours, they will move pretty slowly to the west. The big picture is that tropical moisture continuing to churn up from our south, and again, that's keeping our rain chances a little bit higher than we typically see this time of year. We're continuing to see right now an east coast sea breeze moving inland, a little breezy along the coast with winds 10 to 15 miles per hour right now in Miko. Checking out the tropics, the National Hurricane Center has highlighted 3 areas, 2 in the Atlantic, 1 in the Caribbean. They all have a low chance of further development over the next 7 days. None of those are a concern for Florida. Right now, 90 in Orlando. It is 87 in Ocala, 89 in the Villages, and 88 in Melbourne. Factoring the relative humidity, it feels like 106 in Orlando. It feels like 100 in Daytona Beach. Here's how it looks for us for the next 7 days. Rain chances stay at 60%. Bump them up a little bit to 70% as we head through the rest of the weekend into the weekend. Afternoon highs stay right around the normal range. Overnight lows stay muggy in the mid to upper 70s. We will break down your forecast and show you who's dealing with some rain coming up starting on News 6 at 4. Lisa Bell, Ginger Gadsden, and I will all be there with you at 4. If you have any questions or comments for us here at Take 6, head to clickorlando.com/Take 6. Let us know what's on your mind. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you at 4.